Northern China has just experienced one of the most devastating floods in recent memory. On the 25th of July and 26th, torrential rains poured down across multiple provinces, but no place was more severely affected than Zhuozhou, a city in Hebei. For many in Zhuozhou, this is not just another disaster, it's the return of a nightmare. Back in 2023, this very city sparked international outcry after it was deliberately flooded. In a desperate effort to protect Beijing and the newly developed Xiong'an area, authorities released water from upstream dams. The result? Zhuozhou was sacrificed, submerged under several. Now, 2 years later, as heavy rains return and river levels surge, old wounds are reopening. Streets are underwater, homes are destroyed, and once again, people are asking the terrifying question: is the SI dub too? The government has yet to provide a clear answer. But as images flood social media cars, drifting through city streets, residents climbing onto rooftops, families evacuating in panic, the echoes of 2023 are impossible. The streets turn into rivers. From bustling avenues to familiar alleyways, everything has now become a sea of water. The flood rose without warning, so quickly that residents could only scream in panic. Cars floated like tiny boats, colliding, flipping over, then vanishing into the swirling current. No one had time to react. People climb onto rooftops. In the chaos, the survivors had no choice but to climb onto rooftops and truck beds, the only dry spots left. No electricity, no signal, no way to reach the outside world. All they could do was stare down at the raging water below and pray they'd live to see another sunrise. Desperation and cries for help. Cries for help echoed from every corner. Some waved white towels from afar. Others collapsed in tears, missing their loved ones. Overhead, helicopters circled to search for the stranded. Below, rescue teams struggled against the currents. But time waits for no one. This disaster struck too fast, too violently, leaving behind nothing but utter devastation. Flood spread across northern China. But the nightmare didn't stop at just one city. In less than 12 hours, the floodwaters surged into Beijing, the magnificent capital with over 21 million residents. From Shanxi to Shanxi, and even as far as Gansu, northern China was swallowed by a sea of water. This was no longer a local disaster. It had become a regional crisis. Landslides, collapsed bridges, and vanishing roads. Massive landslides buried entire villages. National highways, once connecting cities to remote regions, were now nothing but rubble. Dozens of bridges snapped like matchsticks, swept away by furious currents. Hundreds were missing. Tens of thousands were forced to evacuate in the dead of night, uncertain if they'd ever return to what used to be home. Full-scale emergency mobilization. As the situation spiraled out of control, Chinese authorities declared a full-scale mobilization. The military was urgently deployed, along with thousands of police officers, firefighters, and medical personnel working around the clock in 5 critical cities. A life-or-death battle between humanity and nature had begun, but the question remained: would they have enough time to save what was left? Rural devastation. People in despair. In the rural areas, where flood defenses are virtually non-existent, panic is more visible than ever. Barefoot children clutching school bags run through muddy fields, searching for shelter. The elderly sit motionless before the ruins of what once was their lifelong home. There are no screams, only a haunting silence. New warnings. The flood isn't over. The National Meteorological Center has issued a dire warning. In the coming days, heavy rains will continue, stronger and more prolonged. Water levels in major rivers are reaching critical thresholds. And the most terrifying part is, this might not be the end. Public outrage. Beijing protected. Zhuozhou sacrificed again. Amid the devastation, a wave of public anger is erupting across Chinese social media. Many believe that once again, the authorities secretly released floodwaters to protect the capital, Beijing, while allowing Zhuozhou to act as a buffer zone, left to take the hit. Netizens are asking, why does the water always come to us? No warning, no protection. Many residents say they received no warning at all, no sirens, no alerts, no evacuation guidance. When the floodwaters arrived, all they could do was run to the rooftops and pray for a miracle. One heartbroken resident said, "We weren't warned. We weren't protected. We were abandoned." The chilling question: who gets saved and who's left behind? The biggest question now isn't about the damage done, but about this: who gets saved and who's left behind? Was there a silent decision made, a trade-off to preserve the peace of the capital at the expense of smaller communities? No one knows for sure, but the silence from officials is only fueling suspicion spreading, just like the floodwaters drowning everything in their path. Extreme floods. The frightening new normal. Zhuozhou wasn't the first, and it certainly won't be the last. As climate change makes extreme weather events more frequent, catastrophic floods like this one are quickly becoming the new normal. And the frightening truth is, we are not prepared for it. Not just a natural disaster, but a systemic test. When we can't control the climate, the only thing left to control is our response system. But if that system is weak, if decisions are made in the shadows, if lives are weighed against political interests, then tragedies like Zhuozhou will keep happening. Not just in China, but anywhere. Final warning. Could your city be next? We might feel safe today, but what about tomorrow? Zhuozhou was once just a blind spot on the map for many. But when the water floods into your home, you're no longer just a spectator. The final question is, could the next city be yours?